everyone, it's Lynette with Charm Grammy Crochet. How are you today? Today is Friday. Yay, start of the weekend. I hope everyone is having a good day. Excuse me. I want to welcome you to my channel. My channel is a crochet channel, set up to be a crochet channel. I'm learning to knit, so we do some knitting stuff. Yeah, I said doo-doo. Let's see, what else? We sometimes travel. Well, we've been living in our RV, my husband and I, for the last year and a half. And we have been traveling, so there are some travel videos on my channel, like sightseeing, what did we see, what did we do. But mostly it's a crochet and now knitting channel to follow my knitting journey as I'm learning to knit. One of the things that I started was a 10-minute challenge. I was challenging myself to knit 10 minutes a day. And I started making a scarf. It is known as the Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Scarf. I had some purple yarn scraps that I started with of my own, and I started knitting. Knit one row, purl one row, knit one row, purl one row. I had some trouble with some needles. I had these needles I purchased at, they are a size US 10, 6 millimeter. I purchased, sorry for the interruption. So I purchased these at the Fiber Festival in Florida. And you notice they don't have like a big bump at the end. And I found that a couple of times my stitches started wanting to fall off. So Nancy from She's Got Yarn gave me these rubber stoppers. They're really pencil grip holders. And I put them on the end. And that solved that problem. But in the meantime, I got these with the, I think these are boys. I don't know what they are. Yeah, they're boy. And they have, you know, the big fat end like you're used to having. So no more problem. And I lost one of my elephant stitch holder thingers. I mean, I think it's in the bottom of my bag somewhere, but I haven't torn the bag apart. So anyway, back to the message at hand here. I started knitting one row, purl one row, knit one row, purl one row, and I just was knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting, and I'm just trying to unravel and show you. So I started with this little scrap right here, and then I decided in between colors, I'm going to add this yarn. So these are all scraps. This yarn, I do know what it is. This is Impeccable from Michaels. This is the colorway Petunia. Probably maybe not the right wrapper. Maybe this is not a Michaels yarn. I don't know. This is the wrapper that's on here, so I'm assuming it's the right wrapper, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm using this yarn, and I had, I think, more. It was pretty full skein. So anyway, I just started knitting and knitting and knitting, and I eventually, it does curl on the end. I don't care. Eventually, and there's holes here and there. This is just practice. And eventually I ran out of my own yarn. And so I started begging yarn from people and like my friends. And as they gave me yarn and I added to the label, to the project, I put their names on a tag. So this yarn coming up is from Nancy at She's Got Yarn. And this yarn here is also Nancy. Yep, I got another hole. Let's see, and that's Nancy. This one's from Lynanne. And so every time I change colors, I put who the yarn is from. This one is from Desiree. So as I go through, every yarn gets a label, Desiree is a good friend. She does not have a channel. Lynanne is from Nina's Knots. This is from Lynanne. Now we have Joe coming up. This is from JoJo. Joe from Joe's Web. And this one is also from Joe. Joe gave me several little tiny skeins like this. I put her name on the bag so I know. So I'm going to use up Joe's. I need to put the label on this one. But isn't this a pretty yarn when it's worked up? Isn't that so pretty? I just love that yarn. I wish I knew what it was, but I don't. So we're just going to go on, just keep knitting. So I put like maybe 2-3 rows, whatever I feel like. And I stop whenever the yarn ends. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle. This is just keep knitting, just keep knitting. That's all this is just practice. I purl a row, I knit a row. I purl a row, I knit a row. The purling row really helps me because my other knitting project is knit only. So the fact that I am purling a row every other row on this one really, helps me to keep in practice with the purling. I don't knit on it every day anymore, but when I knit on it, I am trying to do at least a half of the little ball because I have other knitting projects. So this is what I have left of this colorway. And when I am done with that colorway, I will put in this colorway because I have just a little bit of this. It will always be a little bit different variegated that goes in the middle. This is, I love this yarn, and it is called Candy Stick Stash, and I love the colors. So I'm going to use up this scrap of this variegated in this shawl project, or in this scarf project as well. Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Pants, or Traveling Purple Scarf. And we call it that because I'm scrap begging from everybody now. Now that I am home and have I have my P.O. box, but I can, and it's listed in the description box below. So feel free to send me little purple scraps like so. And I will put you in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Scarf as well. Right now I'm still working on Joe. I have several scraps from other people. The next, after I'm done with this for the variegated part, and you can send variegated, I don't mind variegated in there, but this will be the next. I have a whole skein of this on top of this. So that's going to be my separations. I have plenty of separation yarns. And I have a lot of little scraps because I have still Joe, I have Donna Cooper sent me some scraps, and I have a bag that I have specifically for my purple scraps, but I got Happy Mail the other day when we got to the P.O. box. This beautiful little card, which Roy loves because he's a big birder, and he told me what this bird is. Some kind of red-breasted grosbeak, I think, is what he said that is, or probably is. But this came from Marianne Bryant. Oh, I was just going to say Marianne B. Marianne B. from North Carolina. So she sent me all of these, and I put her name on the bag, and there are so many. Sparkly one, that'll be my first sparkly one, I think, Marianne. So I'm so excited to have more yarn to put in my Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Scarf. It is turning out to be such a fun project. And with the new house, if you hadn't heard, we bought a house here in Ohio where we'll be closer to the family. It really has done my heart good to be able to be with the family more and more. So we're going to continue that with staying in Ohio. I don't want to be gone for months and months at a time anymore. We will be gone for the winter, and we'll see. I'm sure we're gonna stop in South Carolina. I have a sister-in-law that lives there. We have 2 sister-in-laws that live in North Carolina. We might stop there over the summer, just take a long weekend and go down. We've been talking about it, but we haven't done anything about it yet. And maybe just even drive down and stay in a hotel just to visit them for a night or 2. And anyway, then we'll, when we leave, we'll be snowbirds. Let's just put it that way. But our main time will be in here. We did have to put off Alaska because of buying the house. So we'll do Alaska next summer. It's 100% in the books. Everybody better stay healthy, and Alaska better stay there. And we're coming, because we're definitely coming. It's something we've been wanting to do since our 10th wedding anniversary, and it'll be 40 years this February. So it's time. It's more than time. But we put it off this year because first we put it off because of gas prices and injuries to the camper. We decided we didn't want to take the camper, and then we thought that part of the reason that we want to go to Alaska is because we want to visit Jan, a sassy Alaskan crafter, my sister, and my other sister Laura from Mimi's Crochet and Farming. I was going to say farming animals. I was feeling my inner Nancy there. But we want to visit with them, and Laura was scheduled for surgery over the summer, and so that wouldn't have been a fun time to visit her. So we were putting it off, and then she didn't have the surgery. It wasn't necessary. So then we thought we'd come, but then we bought the house, and they said, don't use your credit cards. Well, you can't secure a car without a credit card. And so we're not allowed to use our credit cards. So then we were going to come after we closed on the house, and Jan was very smart and said, you know what, your heart's going to be trying to put your house away. Get it set up and everything come next year. So that's what we're going to do. That was very smart of her to say that. But I'm really sad that we're not going this year. Again, we put it off again. But there's always tomorrow, right? So it is 100% in the plans for next year. If we do no other traveling, we're going to go to Alaska. Then one other thing I wanted to show you in this knitting video, after I squirreled on the whole Alaska thing, because I am going to get yarn in Alaska too. They're saving up purple scraps for me. Oh, that's what I was going to say. In my yarn room, I'm going to hang that in the yarn room on the ceiling. Where it's like, how are you going to work on it? And how are you going to hang it on the ceiling? I'm like, we will figure it out. But that's going up in my yarn room. So then Lynanne and I started a knit along, because she started 10 minutes a day will get you knitting. It's just a 10-minute a day challenge, and it's worked for me. Of course, I did go to a local yarn store where they helped me figure out what I was doing wrong with knitting. If you're having trouble and there is a local yarn store that can help you, most of them would be, would have the knowledge and the ability to help you. Or reach out to some kind of craft community where you might find a knitter that could help you figure out what you're doing wrong, if you're doing anything wrong. And of course, there's always tuning in to Lynanne and I are doing every other week on Wednesday, just a knit along with us and Shannon from Another Yarn, who has been so gracious to help us learn how to knit and learn what we're doing wrong and how to fix it. And if you have questions, you can email them to Lynanne, Shannon, or myself, and we'll make sure that Shannon gets them and can answer any questions that you might have, or hopefully answer any questions that you might have. So now we're knitting. Now we're knitters. Now we're bistitual because of knitting 10 minutes a day and practice, practice, practice. I wouldn't really say that I'm bistitual or a knitter, but I am very much a beginner. And Lynanne and I decided to do this knit shawl called the Fall Shawl. It's finally Fall Shawl. It's by Fiberflux Knits, and it'll be in the description box below. So this is what we're doing. This is mine. The shawl is a version of, if you're a knitter, it's called Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth. And then there are versions of Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth that you can do to enhance or change your dishcloth a little bit. So when I was in the Louisiana, Mississippi area, that's where I bought this yarn. That's from Wool Market Fibers. And there's their phone number. They do have an online presence, so feel free to go there and shop. They told me about some variations on this. So every now and again, I've been adding this lace. It's variations on the dishcloth, but every now and again, I just add this lace. Let's see. There, now you can see it better. It was like every time I have added 50 stitches, or 48 stitches, because you do one yarn over every row, and it gives you this cute little border, just this little eyelet border right there. You do it every other row. Well, you do it every row, but it makes this, you only do it at the front of the row. And so it adds one stitch every row. So I would count my stitches, and when I had another, additional 48 from the last time, then I would do the eyelets. Well, now my thing is long. I'm not counting those stitches to see how far I can go. But Shannon taught us that every bump, because this is garter stitch, I think I got that right, because stockinette is for socks, and it makes the V's. So this is bumpy on both sides, and it's called the garter stitch, but every bump is 2 rows. So when I get 24 bumps, that should be 48 stitches. That would be an easy way to count it, but I didn't do it that way either. I just went a ways and then decided it was time for another eyelet row. And so at the beginning, it's more like 48 stitches. And then it's just when I feel like it, I add an eyelet row. But I recently finished my first 437 yards of fingering weight yarn. And now I am on my second skein, which is this color. So the first and the third skeins were very solid, tonal, but mostly just purple. Now we're into where it's got this like speckly, more of a variegated look to it. You really can't tell yet. I've only done like a row and a half. I was, well, right here. I had this much to go when I lost at Yarn Chicken, and I put that in, and then I've gone across like another time or two. And so you really can't get a whole big visual picture of the new colorway, but it started, and that's where I am. I'm trying, my goal is, and it's not a stringent goal, it's like I will go to sleep before I pass out or whatever, but my goal is to put 2 rows in a day, which doesn't seem like much, but knitting on these 4mm needles with this fingering weight yarn, you don't get very much progress as far as length goes, and it takes a while. Knitting is a slower process than crochet. So just, think the stitches are very tiny, and so that makes sense, right? So if I do 2 rows every day, it really is more time consuming than you would think. My yarn is living in this bag that I also purchased at Wool Market Fibers. I'm like Nancy. I like to come up with my own names. It's real cute, and it just is perfect for holding one hank, you know, caked up. And then the whole project lives in this bag with elephants all over it that I got from my good friend Lynn. I love the bag. It makes me smile every time I see it. So that's where we're at with the knitting as of now. When I sit down, like, it's a really good car project to do my scarf. This is a good car project too because it's just knit. There's no purl. There's no knit 3 stitches, yarn over, and knit. There's no, you don't have to think about what stitch do I do, or is there a count or anything like that. I don't need to worry about that. It's just knit. So it's a really good car project. It's just that it's getting really wide and it takes a while to get through the project, to get through one row. And I don't like to put my knitting down in the middle of a row because I'm not sure 100%, 95% sure I'll pick it up and do it the right way. But there's that 5% that says you're an idiot and you'll pick it up backwards and go the wrong way. I think that really I know enough. I'm comfortable enough now picking up the knitting and saying, oh, wait, this doesn't feel right, and know that I'm doing it wrong. But there's that 5% chance that I would just go the wrong direction and screw everything up. So I don't like to put my knitting down yet in the middle of a row, which makes the traveling purple scarf way easier because it's only 30 stitches. I did 30 stitches and I was happy with the width of it, and that's all I've done is 30 stitches, 30 stitches. Sometimes I end up with 31 and then I have to, you know, fix that or whatever. But there was a while that I kept adding a stitch and I don't know why or how I was doing that. Usually it was in a row where I ended up with a hole that wasn't unraveling. So probably I did a yarn over without realizing that I had done that and didn't know what that really was or how to fix it. But then I would, like, a few rows, after a few rows, I would do a count and I would have an extra stitch or two, and there were these holes in there. I realized later, now that I know better what I'm doing, because I kept looking for the loop when you drop a stitch, and I never had that loop, and nothing has ever unrolled. So I'm pretty sure I was yarn overing. I was doing an add a stitch. So then at the beginning of the next row, I would just do 2 together, and you can't even tell, particularly because it rolls. Those are rolled in, but I don't care. It's just a practice project, and now it's just turned into a fun project just for having fun with. And I love getting the yarn balls from people along the way. My friends, my yarny friends, my yarn sisters. I want to have everybody have a little section in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Scarf. And it's traveling because it was traveling, picking up the extra scraps, but now people are sending scraps to me. So that the yarn has still traveled either way. If it's because it was in the camper with me going places, or if it's because people have sent me yarn, which is always so exciting to get purple yarn scraps in the mail. So I have received 2 people have sent me purple yarn scraps now, and I haven't been begging for it very long. So if you have purple yarn scraps and you don't know what to do with them, send them on over. Get into the Sisterhood of the Traveling Purple Scarf, because that's kind of fun. I think that's all I have, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like, make a comment. I love reading the comments. I get behind sometimes, but I always get caught back up again. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.